Hello guys, Michaela here. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another speed build. Today we are building in the world of Henford-on-Bagley, which is the world that came with Cottage living, and we are building another tiny home because as I mentioned in my last video, I am currently obsessed with building tiny homes. So yeah, this is like the third of many to come because I have a couple more coming your way in the upcoming weeks. As I said, I built a really big house which is coming next Friday, and I just needed to get that out of my system by building a lot of tiny homes. So as you can probably hear, my voice sounds sick again. It's not still sick, it's sick again because I had my tonsillitis, which I mentioned, I think, in like in the apartment video, which I recovered from. But I started my teaching practicum, which is like teaching supervised teaching in like a normal school, not a university. And yeah, I got something from the kids there again straight away. So I was kind of healthy for like 2 days, and yeah, I spent the whole weekend trying to get better so that I could go to school again on Tuesday, because thankfully we have a bank holiday today, which is Monday, the 1st of May, so that's bank holiday for us. So thankfully I had the extra day to get better, and I'm already feeling a lot better. It's still kind of, you can still hear it on my voice, but I'm not feeling as miserable as I did yesterday or the day before. I did not have like a fever, just like a cold, which is good because otherwise that would be very bad. But I don't know, there's just something in our house at the moment. My brother has tonsillitis again as well, like after a month he has it again, so it's not fun. We've been sick quite a lot in the past couple of weeks, like 2 months, so yeah. Anyway, let's go back to the build. So it's a 30 by 20 lot. It's the 4 Old Mill Lane in Henford-on-Bagley. It's a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom house, and it comes in at 34,861 simoleons. So it's not a starter home, but it's also not that expensive. I am not sure if you can fit 1 or 2 sims in here. I kind of forgot, but I think there is a double bed in here. Anyway, what I did, which was really fun, I created a custom stable, I think it's called, or like the hut, or like the place for the animals. So I used a trick by Sati Sims, I believe, that they posted a tutorial on YouTube on how to do a custom one, and I really loved it, so I decided to do a custom one here for this build because I just don't like the way the one that we got with Cottage living looks. It's like big and weird, so I decided to use this as kind of the base, but I wanted to make sure that the animals are under a roof, so I kind of hid the roof inside of this pergola thingy that we got with the Hispanic update last year, I want to say. I could be wrong. Time flies by. It could have been like 2 years ago. So I kind of divided it in 2, and 1/2 is for a cow and the other half is for a llama, and I really love how it turned out. It's functional, even though if you download the lot of the gallery, the animal can actually be outside of the stable because it can move around in the original like little house. So yeah, that's a bit of a bummer, because now it's inside but then it changes, so that sucks a little, but it's still functional. It still should be functional. I did playtest that, even though I normally don't playtest my builds. I did playtest this because I wanted to make sure that it works. So I used a tool mod to size down the original kind of stable, and then I covered it up with some debug items to make sure that they are gonna work. I also used some debug items from Cottage Living here to create like an opening gate sort of feel. You don't really need it, but I really wanted kind of for the realism of it. I also placed a chicken coop later on here, so I imagine that this person that lives in this tiny house, or the sim that lives in this tiny house, is obsessed with animals. So I placed, you know, the cow, the llama, the chickens. There's also a space for a dog inside because I did not place a litter box, I think. So there should be space for a dog. But you could easily add the litter box somewhere on the lot to make sure that you could have a cat as well. There are also some animals on the pond, which obviously are not like playable or they can't be interacted with, but I kind of wanted to do that for the sake of the theme that I was going for. And I really love how this turned out. I used this kind of like a lavender purple, kind of like carpet rock sort of plant that I believe came with high school years, and I really like the way that looked. I went with the purple color scheme again, which is the color scheme that I went with in my in the tiny home I last week, which was the shell for Simmery Sims shell challenge. But actually I built this one first because obviously the shell challenge has a deadline and I wanted to post it as soon as possible, so I chose to post that one first, but I built this earlier than the challenge, the build that I did for the shell challenge, and I was inspired here by the pergola that I used for the stable, so that's kind of what inspired the color scheme. And unlike the I'm not sure. I think I went for, oh yeah, no, I went for a same color scheme, so like a light wood and purple, but the style is a bit more like rustic and cottagey, rather than the more modern vibe that I went for the shell challenge that I did last week. Also, speaking of shell challenges, I'm hosting one right now on anywhere really. I have posts on Twitter, Instagram, I have it on my gallery, and I also posted it on my YouTube community tab. So I'm hosting a shell challenge, which I'm really happy. I love shell challenges and it's so much fun hosting because you can see what people do with like one of your with a shell that you came up with. So I did 2 containers that are stacked on top of each other, but kind of wanted to add a little bit of a twist. So I forgot what I wanted to say. Oh yeah, so the different containers are kind of, you can, I'm sorry, you can interchange them, so you don't have to keep them the way they are. You just can't delete any walls. So you can take them and put them next to each other, on top of each other, kind of touching. You can't delete any walls, but you can move them around in relation to each other, so they don't have to stay the way they are on the gallery. Okay, so that's kind of what I was going for, and I really like that idea. And I wanted to kind of add a little bit of a twist and something that can make the shell a little more kind of customizable, so it's not like set shell completely. Anyway, back to the build. So I used these counters from, I believe, the Country Kitchen kit, and I love the rug that I used for the dining space. I am absolutely in love with the dining space. I think that's like the favorite part of this little home. The rug, the light wood, the white with those curtains that came with Paranormal. I just love the way that looks, and I love the hints of purple. We have different shades of purple as well, because you know the swatches don't necessarily match, but I think that's like really pretty and adds kind of to the realism of the build, because you can't have everything like matchy, but you want to kind of keep the color, but you cannot have all the same like shades of purple. So I really like that detail. So yeah, as I said, the main difference between this build and the one that I did last week is kind of the style, and I loved both of them. I love both of them, but I really love this one. So I liked the one that I did last week, but I'm absolutely obsessed with this one. I also used my favorite bookcase from Realm of Magic. I love that bookcase. I don't use it very often because it obviously doesn't fit into modern build, but I love that bookcase so much. It's so beautiful, it fits nicely, and it perfectly covered this like hole that I had, this like bump out that I had in the wall, and I love it. I've said it in like previous builds where I used it that it's my favorite one, but because it's not like modern, it doesn't really look very nice with the rest of the build. Yeah, so I'm just adding some details to the kitchen. I was kind of struggling a little bit with kind of laying things out. So I know that the table is kind of blocked off partially, so you have to kind of walk around. You can access only half from the kitchen directly, and for the other half you have to walk around. But because there is only one sim living here, I felt like it doesn't really matter. And if you have someone over, they're gonna move around just fine, I think. And now we are working on the little bathroom. I'm sorry, yeah, English is not going well today. Especially because my voice is so weirdly sounding. So I'm just doing this little bathroom. I placed a shower, one of the wall showers from Discovery University because I didn't really have a space for a proper one. And this was easier to do. And I'm just adding some decorations as well. And I'm gonna move on to the bedroom. And I really like what I did here. I think I ended up going for a different swatch, but I think I kept this bed in here. I've been obsessed with this bed ever since we got the Growing Together pack. I love it so much. So yeah, I kind of broke the purple color scheme in here a little, I think. I have no idea. Genuinely, it's been a couple of weeks since I've built this and I forget very quickly, especially with like how much I'm building these days. So yeah, I just decided to go with this like more bluish color, but I kind of brought in the purple with like decorations and some of the clutter pieces that I placed. I also wanted to make sure that I keep the variety within the wood tones, so they're still light, but I'm adding some of the more warmer tones as well, not just the very light ones. So yeah, that's it for today's short speed build. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss any of my future videos. If you want to download this build, you can get it on the gallery. My ID is michaelasimsyt, or you can get the tray files in the description box below as always on my Ko-fi page. So yeah, thank you, have a great day, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!
I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year ago. I've changed for the better this time. I thought I would never be fine. I strive just to say I'm alright, and for the first time in a long time I'm alright. I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year ago.